The suburban Chicago house I'd lived in for the past 6 years came into view, and my stomach knotted tighter. It was the same feeling I'd had on my way to a job I'd hated a lifetime ago, when pulling up to the building made me groan out loud at the prospect of another shift in that godforsaken place. Didn't seem right to feel that way coming home, but there it was, same as it had been for the past 2 months. By the time I pulled into the garage beside the familiar red Corolla, my jaw ached from clenching my teeth. Probably because that's what I'd been doing every night this week at the same time. Ugh. If I didn't move out of this place soon, my dental bills were going to be astronomical. That was a good enough reason to step things up, wasn't it? So I didn't grind my teeth to dust? As if I didn't already have a laundry list of reasons why I needed to get out of here. With an ache in my jaw and a sour feeling in my throat, I collected my coffee cup, lunch bag, and briefcase and got out of the car. On the way inside, I couldn't help limping a little, which added to my festering annoyance. It wasn't unusual for my leg to be sore by the end of the day, especially after I'd been coaching basketball, but it wasn't doing much for my shitty mood. I couldn't think of much that would, though. Nothing short of substances that would get me fired. Or maybe finding a note on the counter that said, "I moved out." There wasn't a plant on this earth that would get me higher than reading those 3 sweet little words. But unless my soon-to-be ex-husband had won the lottery since this morning, he was just as stuck here as I was. At the door, I paused for a deep breath to steel myself, then went inside. The kitchen and living room were empty. Derek's car was here, so it was a safe bet he was home, but he was somewhere else in the house. Good enough for me. If I was lucky, he'd stay that way long enough for me to wind down. I went through my usual motions, cleaning out my lunch bag, rinsing the Tupperware dishes, checking the cat's food and water, perusing the mail. For years, this routine had soothed me, helped me shift from work to home so I could relax. Not so much these days. Our long-haired calico, Lucy, hopped upon the counter and chirped at me, and I managed to crack a smile as I scratched her back the way she loved. She arched under my hand and purred. I chuckled, and I didn't even mind that she was kicking the mail everywhere as she strutted back and forth on the counter. "Hey, sweetheart, you miss me?" More purring. I kept scratching and petting her for a moment, trying not to think about the future, or the fact that Derek and I still hadn't come to a custody agreement about the cats. They were litter mates, and though they could fight almost as loudly as we could, they were inseparable. There was no, "You take Lucy and I'll take Chico." When this was all over and we finally went our separate ways, someone was taking both cats, and someone would be living without them. I scooped Lucy into my arms, and I hugged her tight, which just made her purr louder, and my conscience burn hotter. Guilt had been a constant friend for the past couple of months, and every time I thought about either losing my cats or taking them away from Derek, I wanted to cry, as if I hadn't done enough of that already. "I'm so sorry, guys." I buried my face in Lucy's plush fur. "I fucked everything up." The click of a door at the opposite end of the house made my spine stiffen. Lucy tensed, too. By the time Derek was halfway up the hall, she'd stopped purring. As he cleared the corner into the living room, she wriggled in my arms, and I sighed as I set her back down on the counter. She jumped to the floor and trotted out of the room, probably to the office where Chico was likely watching birds. I watched her go, fresh guilt gnawing at me. Things had really gone to shit when even the cats didn't want to be in the same room with the two of us. Without the cat to hold my attention anymore, I turned to see where Derek was headed so I could make my own escape. I still needed to change clothes anyway, not to mention take off my prosthetic and sit for a while to give my joints a rest. If he was going to hang out in the living room, then I could go into my bedroom or join the cats in the office. But Derek wasn't heading into the living room. He was coming into the kitchen, and from the way his gaze was fixed on me, he wanted to talk about something.